Welcome today. One of my favorite topics is going to be Lean Six Sigma. So today we're talking about Lean Six Sigma. But first, you've heard about our 8-week business growth intensive. We got 4 days left. It is Tuesday, 4 days left of our one-time offer. 8 powerful weeks with a trusted strategy advising team. Myself and Robert Lime, Mr. Robert Lime. We're going to do personalized goal setting with you. We're going to do one-on-one coaching with you. We're going to do masterminds with you. And then after the 8 weeks, we're going to make sure that we control the situation like the Dpmo process shows us. And we are going to make sure that your business continues to do well outside of that 8 weeks by getting you the tools that you need for the rest of the year. So 12 months membership in our Level Up Business Mastery Inner Circle. It's a mouthful. So we just call it Inner Circle. It's pretty cool. You should join. All right. Let's get down to brass tacks. We got a lot to cover today. We got a lot. So let's get started. What is Lean Six Sigma, or what is Six Sigma? Yeah, that's the question, right? So Six Sigma goes on a system of belts. So we're going to kind of go over the white belt version, which is the lowest level. And it's because once you get into green belt and black belt and yellow belt, it takes a while to learn that stuff. So you need to go to a class for a week or whatever. And it's 8 hours a day of Six Sigma, man. So it's pretty crazy. So what is Six Sigma? Six Sigma is a methodology that one of the many methodologies that I have in my tool belt to help your business. And it's a methodology for process improvement. And it's a statistical concept that seeks to define any variation in any process, right? So you're looking at whether it's too high or too low and the statistics of it all in any process. You want to keep it right in the middle, kind of the picture that I'm painted. I would say the overarching premise of Six Sigma is that variation in process leads to cost for you. So you don't want variation in your process. You want to eliminate the opportunity for variations or errors in your process. You want to see something too far to the left, too far to the right as a variation, and you want to hone that down because you want to make sure that you're staying in the middle of the road there. Okay. You've got process defects lead to product defects. It's another principle of Six Sigma. And what that means is when you've got a process, and we'll kind of define some things later, but if you've got a process and you are doing a million different things, then you want to narrow the error margin to less than 3 per million. That's what Six Sigma statistically, mathematically means, is that you are on the outside edge of the majority of your bell curve, right? 6 standard deviations. That's what Sigma means. All right. Is my dog eating? Good. My dog is eating. She's been eating. She kind of slows down and takes her time. Data-driven processes and decisions. That's, a huge part. It's all data-driven. So we're not looking to make decisions based on emotion or gut feeling or solving problems that don't exist, like I talked about with the DMAIC talk. We don't want to do any of that. We want to look at the numbers and see what is going to be best for us, and we're going to do that. Okay? So data-driven processes and decisions. Now, decision making without Six Sigma. So let's talk quickly about like Five Sigma versus Six Sigma, right? So that's decision making without Six Sigma. So 5 standard deviations. If you've got, let's talk about the cost of Amazon order errors, right? What's the average cost of an Amazon error? $35. Let's keep that variable, right? Across the board. How many orders do they have? 36.8 million orders, let's say. Okay. Now, 5 Sigma allows for 8,574.4 errors, which has a total cost of $300,104 and no cents. Okay. $300,000. 36.8 million orders cost them $300,000 for the errors if they were to just use a 5 Sigma model. If they had 36.8 million orders and they were using Six Sigma, they would have 125.12 errors. Average cost per error, still 35, still 36.8 million orders. Our total cost of errors is $4,379.20. Statistically, mathematically, that makes sense. Okay. So if I brought a Six Sigma thing into your office and you had Ashley's here, she says, howdy. It's Lean Six Sigma Day, Ashley. She's excited. Because this is important stuff. But cost of Amazon order errors, in a 5 Sigma world would be 300,000. If I came in and did this process improvement and did this exact same case study, then I would have saved that company, Amazon, I would have saved them $296,000. Now, you don't have the same order capacity as Amazon, most likely. However, there's a possibility that I could correct several different errors and find different things going on. And you may be operating at a 4 Sigma level, which is going to be much more than 8,574 errors. Right? Because as you get closer to the center on your bell curve, it's a wider from the bottom to the top, right? The wider portion. And so that 4 Sigma area is going to really, really jump because it's a bell curve. Interesting. And I'm not painting you guys, I'm painting you guys pictures as opposed to showing you pictures today, because we've got a lot of this information ready to go in the inner circle. Just let us know if you want more training on Lean Six Sigma. We'd be happy to talk to you about that. 1 Sigma, let's see, 4 Sigma defects per million opportunities is 6,200. So if they had 36.8 million orders and you're just looking at the order error rate, 6,200 per million. So let's do 36.8 million times 6,200. And we're going to have to add zeros to this, I think. Is that what we need to do? Yeah, so that's like $228 million. It's probably like 2.2 billion or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's a lot of money. Don't do that. And then at 3 Sigma, you're just losing money because you got 66,000 errors per million. 36 million. 66,000. 66.8. And so if you multiply 36.8 by 66,800, then you're left with 2,458,240. And then I believe because we skimped on the million thing over here, we're going to have to, let's see, what was it? 36,800,000 and then 3 extra zeros. Let's do that. Let's do that math. Yeah, we're getting into some exponents here. It's 2.4524e plus 12. So we're really running into some crazy numbers. You're just losing money at that point. So if you're not standardizing, that's the difference between Lean Six Sigma and without Lean Six Sigma. I would say that it's just that 5 versus 6 is huge. Just you don't want to be at a lower level than Six Sigma. It's too costly for your business. So if you're not using Six Sigma in your business, Lean, the 5S's, things like that, it's actually costing you tons of money and you don't even know it. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty insane because you're just like, oh, that's a cost of doing business. Well, if you organize and put your process in order a little bit more precise, then you can really turn the heat up on your process and get your opportunities for the number of defects down, right? So Dpmo, you might hear me say that, but Dpmo is defects per million opportunities. So what we want to do is we want to eliminate the amount of opportunities for an error by honing down that process so tightly that we're doing things that are preventing the errors. So there's some calculations that you can do to find that out. It's all on Google, or you can hire someone like me. Defining Six Sigma. So I think we've defined that pretty well. Really, it's the edge of that bell curve. So the very, very tips. So 1 million opportunities, you're only going to have 3 errors. That's where we want to be. So cost of Amazon errors, we went over. Common Six Sigma principles. So, we really want to during these common Six Sigma principles, we really want to have the methodology in the leadership of the company. We want to make sure that the leadership of the company fits with the leadership styles of Six Sigma, process management, improvement, process improvement, and any improvement endeavors. We need to make sure that these leadership have what it takes to think this way, right? We want them thinking this way at all times, because then they're on a continuous improvement cycle where they always are improving. They're always looking at ways to improve the process that their office is implementing by way of employees, by way of machinery, by way of automation and digital software as a service. So whatever it is, they need to be thinking this way constantly. Each member of the team should be always trying to make their department better, right? Whether they're the leadership or not. I think the common, one of the biggest common feature of it is customer focused improvement. So at the end of the day, you're getting a better product to your customer. You're identifying areas of concern for the customer, and you're able to get those customer values into your business to be able to cater to those values, right? So you're going to prioritize work challenges to deliver faster, better products. You're going to develop new ideas based on customer feedback, like I just talked about. You're going to test solutions and ideas before implementing them and investing money and time because you've got the statistical analysis background to do so now with Lean Six Sigma. Continuous process improvement. Variation is a huge one. We want to identify variation in your system so that we can hone that down and take that variation out of the equation, right? We don't want any variation when you're making a product or serving a client. Just if it's a service, you want to do the same thing over and over and over. If you're a car wash or place that you want to get the car clean every time. You don't want any variation. You don't want to like, oh, we almost got it. You don't want any variation. If you're doing a heart surgery, you don't want to almost get it, right? We want to remove waste from your company. There's 8 wastes of lean, and they're all important, but some of them are more common than others. Some of them are more hidden. Can't really see it unless you're looking for it. So every day it's just kind of like, oh, this is what we do. But it might be wasteful. Okay. And then we want to equip people, including the management. We want to equip people with the knowledge and the skills to really improve their processes, improve their life in a lot of cases. One of the biggest things that I take pride in is being able to make sure that the employees at the end of the day, instead of going and plopping on the couch and saying, oh, that was a long day, man, my job sucks. I want them plopping on the couch, flipping on the TV and saying, man, that was a great day. And I can do that. I can do that pretty successfully because we implement processes that are going to make that happen for those employees. We're going to talk to them and be a part of their life for a little while and make sure that they are able to continue on what we have taught them in the business. And then controlling the process. We want to make sure that we control the process. We want to be very intentional about what we're doing. We want to make sure that not only are we controlling, but we're monitoring. We are looking at the process constantly and then trying to improve that process. If there's something just a little off, we're going to continue to dial it down into this Six Sigma thing, right? This framework. So we want to make sure that we're equipping and the management, the team, and then we're allowing them to control the process. We can come in and control the process for you, but that's not what either one of us wants, right? So we want to teach your people how to control the process. We want to make sure that they're checking in on it. A lot of times what business owners and people and management, what they do is they put a process into place and say, this is what we're going to do. This is the new policy. This is what we're going to do. And they never take the time to revisit and say, after a month, after 2 months, after 3 months, is this working? How, what do we need to change to make it like really better? And we've implemented it. Great. We had some hiccups. Where are the hiccups? Where are the errors that we had while putting this implementation into place? And then how do you rectify that situation? So control the process after you put something into place. That, that's kind of like going and back and checking the foundation of a building, you should scientifically know that foundation's going to hold up. But before you get to 60 floors tall or something like that, you want to make sure that it's going to hold up, I guess. I don't know. You might go back and check some things, right? Some challenges of Lean Six Sigma or Six Sigma. So there's a lot of things, it's not the perfect program, and that's why I have lots of tools in my tool belt. But there are things that happen in this world that don't need Lean Six Sigma. It's just too stringent, and it wouldn't allow for certain things. But there's certain things that do need it. So you think about like a clinical psychologist's office. You've got several clinical psychologists in this office, and you have your office manager and all this stuff. Now the actual clinical psychology has to go through that clinical psychology framework, right? So we don't want to really apply Six Sigma to that, because that's very personal, very heuristic in nature. There's not really a whole lot you can do with that process. The person that's being helped also needs to contribute towards their help and their assistance by showing up to the meetings, by doing all. So we don't really want to touch that. What we can do, the showing up to the meetings part, is we can iron out some of those details by saying, let's put a process into place to text the person that we're meeting before the appointment. Let's email them, let's text them, let's give them a call before the appointment. And those three things are going to actually enhance the ability for them to remember the appointment. And they now feel obligated. Oh, they reminded me 3 times. They feel obligated to show up in a lot of cases because they've been contacted. They're like, they really want me to come. They really, we scheduled an appointment. I'm really obligated to be there. But, so there's definitely things that, that don't need to be touched, and then there's peripheral things that can be touched. How do you organize all of your bookkeeping, your patient care logs and things like that? That's all Lean Six Sigma. You can do all of that through Lean Six Sigma. Put a process into place. I would say one of the biggest things that people don't realize is like Lean Six Sigma doesn't get the report or the support. They don't have the rapport from everyone. Not everyone knows what Lean Six Sigma is. So when you don't get the buy-in from the entire team, you have lack of support for the ideas of Six Sigma. You might have lack of resources or knowledge. That may include human resources with knowledge on Six Sigma. So if you don't have someone in your company, that's a great space to go ahead and hire someone like me. So lack of resources and knowledge. Organizations across the country do not know about Six Sigma, or they know that it exists, but they don't really know all the details. They don't really know. They have never researched into it or been formally trained in it or had someone come in and do it for them. They just don't know. So lack of resources and knowledge is definitely something that's a detriment to the framework, right? Challenges of Six Sigma. Poor project execution. So you may go through the project and not have project management skills. And so that's why I love pairing Six Sigma with project management professional, because it really does take someone that's been a project manager before, and had those kind of discussions, knows the framework, and they can execute a project. Because once, like I said, you execute the project, whether it's using DMAIC framework, PMP, Lean Six Sigma, any of those, we're going to be looking at the execution as success or fail in a lot of ways, right? So we want to make sure that we have good project execution instead of poor project execution. So you may have someone that's great at knowing about Lean Six Sigma, but they don't have project management skills. Let's partner up and we can solve that problem for you. Data access issues. Guys, if you don't have the data to back it up, then you can't formulate an equation at all. If you don't record your data and you don't have metrics, how many cans of soda or beer or whatever did we produce through this machine? How many cans were broken by the sealer just going breaking? And how many cans did we waste? That's 12 ounces of beer that we wasted 6 times. It all adds up. You do that over a year, how many ounces of beer is that? Oh, you bottle 3 times a week? Or a can and bottle 3 times a week? Wasting a lot of beer, a lot of soda, just by having something break every once in a while. All right. So data access issues. How do you get that data? We help you get that data as well. And then there's a lot of concern about using it in an industry like I said, you might not see it as a potential to be used in a clinical psychology office or a dentist's office or a just any type of like HR or all kinds of different things. But a lot of people have concerns over that. But a lot of people would say that's silly. Let's go ahead and teach you why this can be applied here. And I think I'm one of those people that's like, let's just teach you why this can be applied instead of like worrying about if it can be applied. Like it can, but let's just have a professional come in and look around and say, yep, this can be, we can use Six Sigma on this, we can use Six Sigma on this. It doesn't have to be all of your office on Six Sigma, but having that framework may enhance some other processes in your office. All right. Thank you for the like, Kira. Thank you for the like. Because of this, organizations often discount the methods that or believe that they'd be too difficult to implement. So there's a lot of businesses out there that would just be concerned that it'd be too difficult to implement. We've only got a team of 5. This seems a little bit much, but it really comes down to, let's do the calculation. It's $1 million problem because you're doing this over time. Maybe it's $1 million over 5 years. That's still $1 million you just lost out on over 5. You could have earned an additional $1 million for your business and kept it. Ooh. Wow. Miss out on $1 million because it's too hard. Come on, man. The development of statistical process control. So let's talk about developing. Let's not get into the history today. I really just don't even care. I don't care about you knowing the history of this. But, DMAIC was definitely a framework. Having Six Sigma projects using that DMAIC framework is important. I take that DMAIC out and use it alone by itself a lot of times without really implementing a lot of the Six Sigma methodology, depending on what we're doing. But in all, it's part of the Six Sigma methodology. Um, I mean, statistical process control became really prevalent in the beginning of the 20th century because we started manufacturing a lot of things, started having a lot more um, of that, Ford version of just assembly lines and things like that. And so we started having a lot more of that. We started trying to manage that in a better way. So that's really where this kind of came up. Um, let's talk about just continuous process improvement. That's just something that you should be doing in your business. You should always be looking for a better process. You should always be looking for better software. Now, I'm a huge proponent of sit on what you got. If it's not broken, don't try to fix it. However, there are some things that you would say are working fine that I would say, wow, you're doing it like that. There's a lot better way, right? So what we want to do is meet in the middle and say, hey, look, is this an actual problem? Is this a big enough problem? Is there a big enough gap to solve this problem? So what you're doing now may you could save $30,000 a year by doing it differently. Is $30,000 a big enough problem though to solve in your $52 million a year company? It may not be. You may have $1 million, $2 million, $5 million problem somewhere else. So we don't want to really spend money on Corey Myers and Gravere strategists if we don't have to, right? So that's one of the things we work with clients with as well. So you need to be looking at those processes continuously, having someone like me come in if that's what you need, but having someone come in and say, hey, look, there's a new software that just came out on the market and it does what you want to do and it will save you $30,000. Now, I don't think it's a big enough problem right now at 30,000, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to watch this software. We're going to watch for competitors to pop up. And once one of those competitors pops up and can solve the bigger, broader problem and actually get you $1 million worth of savings or $500,000 worth of savings or whatever the threshold may be, that's when we'll jump on that. But let's be aware of this. And so just having someone on the lookout for process improvement for you and having them on retainer would save you, millions over the next 10 years. Absolutely. So Toyota came out with the lean Six Sigma stuff, and that's really just cutting out those wastes and making sure that you are identifying the waste and taking them out. We had Motorola, and they focused on the defects. That's defects per million opportunities. We had GE doing Allied Signal, ABB, and GE. You think about how are the street lights, the traffic lights, the green, yellow, red traffic lights, how are they run? They have to go through, if they switch however often all day, right? So how many times do they switch per day? And how many days does it take to get to 1 million switches? And they don't even mess up 3 times in that million. They're not allowed to. Not anymore. I don't even think. We used to have some accidents where people would say, oh, well, it was green on my end. Oh, well, it was also green on my end. And then it was like, whose fault is that if the traffic lights messed up? I remember that back in like the 90s and maybe even into the early 2000s. But now that's like, how quicksand when we were kids used to be a huge issue in the cartoons. So we thought we'd have quicksand all in this world and just like, oh, you got to watch out for the quicksand. And quicksand's really not a problem. Same with these lights, I think, and you never know. Somebody might be lying. Oh, I thought it was green. Sorry. But I think that used to be a bigger problem in my mind. That's kind of what I remember is, but that Six Sigma side of things, if you bring that in to the process and you eliminate the chance for an error, maybe you put a safety in place on the chipboard, on the PCB inside of the box that's controlling the lights. Maybe you wire it a certain way that doesn't allow two sides to both be green. It defaults to red. If everybody is at red, then nobody's getting in the intersection and crashing. But if both of them are green, then that's a severe accident waiting to happen. So maybe there's some, and I haven't even researched into that. Just kind of off the top of my head, think about GE and Allied Signal and ABB. Like, how are they doing the electric stuff? Like, how are they making things? So you want to make things and take the opportunity for defects out of the way, right? So let's talk about applying it. Maybe applying it in your business. Let's talk about applying that Six Sigma knowledge. You really want to apply it through a controlled project, like the DMAIC process management improvement kind of system is fantastic. Making sure you have a project and say, this is the start, this is the end of the project, and then we're going to control for this long until we can kind of see that, hey, it's not really messing up, and then we'll control periodically over time. So you're checking on it every 3 months or every 6 months. All right. So you can kind of slow down on some of those checks while you're improving other projects. You're going to run out of time. So hiring a Six Sigma person for a large company may be a fantastic way to help your company out. Levels of Six Sigma certification. There's white belt, yellow belt, green belts, black belts, and there's the master black belt with the ability to train others, right? So other process improvement, and quality improvement methodology. Lean process management is separate, but usually applied with Lean Six Sigma. So I have a Lean Six Sigma black belt. Lean process management is its own thing, its own set of tools. However, pairing them together is awesome, and they're usually it's kind of more of a culture of quality with the Lean. Yeah. And then there's total quality management, or TQM. That's a fantastic framework as well, because you're really focused on quality, and you've given quality a huge commitment to your business. So you have quality assurance people, you have people, you have empowered employees that can make decisions based on quality. Hey, I can see this and it's broken. I need to throw this away. I'm not going to just put it through the system because that's my job to put it through the system. You want to make sure that they have the opportunity in TQM to do that. Strategic planning takes quality into concern and really not a whole lot else. That's really for long-term decisions. I use a lot of TQM, but I don't use it like I use Six Sigma. And so that's a tool that I have in my belt, but I'm not certified in TQM or anything. Business process re-engineering. So continuous changes versus we're just going to re-engineer this one time. So obviously you can see the defect in that. But you want to design a process from the very beginning and re-engineer it and then implement it. Rumler Brock is BRACH is another process improvement method. It really got some traction in the 80s, but a lot of people don't really pay attention to it as much anymore. Again, that's a tool in my tool belt. I kind of use it with here and there. And really we want the performer, the process, and the organization to all kind of like be concerned with their own little topic. And so it's got a little grid system. It's interesting. Scrum is extremely grown in popularity with software as a service and other types of services to get things done. I like Scrum. I just don't use it all the time. Scrum is extremely important for project management more than anything else, and more operational projects, right? So if you have something that you are operating, like that's consistently happening, Scrum may be a great way to go through the operation of creating something. And so you've got the pregame, the game, and the postgame, and each one of those stages has their own traits and things like that. Customer experience management method. That's another. So Scrums and CEM are great tools that I have in my tool belt. The CEM is going to be a lot like the Rumler Brock, and it's going to have that outside approach to process improvement, focusing on what the customer wants or needs versus like what you are producing. You're going to focus on what they want or need. Does that make sense? Jumpstart is a process improvement methodology that is kind of a management tool. It's let's identify possible solutions as early as possible, right? Pretty simple. When to implement Six Sigma? Are you facing the unknown? Are you facing something that you don't know about? What's going on? Let's try to narrow it down. Let's try to figure it out. Let's use math, because math can tell us a story about what's going on. When problems are widespread and not defined, what is the problem? The building's on fire. Like, we don't know what's going on at all. And so sometimes that's the case. We have no idea why we're hemorrhaging money. But we're not making the profit margins that we think we should be making. We're just spending a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit there, and it's all adding up. Where, what's the defined problem, right? When solving complex problems. So when you're looking at just massive little spending across the board, that's just kind of like overall costs, it's adding up and we're not making the profit that we want. That's a complex problem. Believe it or not, we've got to train multiple different people in categories of employee in your business to fix that problem, right? So that's a complex problem that's coming from multiple angles and attacking your profits. So that's what we call a complex attack in the military, is when there are enemies coming from at least like 3 different directions. Battle of Kamdesh, October 3rd or 6th. I can't remember now. It's been years. But I want to say it's October 3rd. But, so that's coming up. But Battle of Kamdesh was a complex attack. It's coming from different directions. And we took some casualties, but we inflicted a lot of casualties on the opposing side. And this was Afghanistan, of course. And then we secured the area again. They kind of got us cornered into the base. We took back the base, and then air support was there, and we kind of scared them away and got them to stop attacking us. And then we cleared out that base. We were just like, no more of this. So it's an interesting battle. If you're into that kind of thing, go check out that. But it's a complex problem, right? It's complex because it's coming from different angles. So if you need to solve a complex problem that's coming from different angles, that's hitting you from everywhere, and you just don't they're just jabbing and hooking and everything. You might need to use Six Sigma methodology. When costs are closely tied to the processes. So your variable cost depends on the process that you've got going, right? So if your process is adding cost to the item throughout this process, we want to make sure that those costs can, if for defects and things like that, can be taken out by process improvement. So that's pretty much it for Six Sigma. If you've got comments, you've got questions, if you've got more than just howdy, Ashley, give us some questions. Ashley's a good friend. But yeah, if you've got questions for us, maybe a strategy session might be the best thing for you. Sign up for a strategy session with us, and you can find that strategy session, by clicking on the link. I'm going to send this link out in the comments for every channel that we're on, and so we'll schedule your strategy call. thegrowthconsultant.com/strategy-session, and you'll get the opportunity to meet with one of us, and we'll take care of you in that strategy call. We'll make sure that we get some strategy for you, we get some action items for you, and we'll make sure that you get exposed to maybe giving us some information about your business so that we can see if you're a good fit for our 8-week business growth intensive. And that really is something that we're really excited to start. We want to get out of this sales cycle of trying to get people into this. So we're, 4 days left. And I think we've got, Robert's not here, but I think we've got 2 seats filled at this point. So we've got 6 seats left. We only want 8 business owners in this group. We've really only got time to do these one-on-one strategy sessions with 8 founders each week. So I think, each of us are going to be meeting with you separately throughout the 8 weeks. And so we don't want to take more than 8 business owners. So the Lean Six Sigma side of things, I think, is something that we're definitely going to be covering in these 8 powerful weeks. This is something that we're going to be implementing in your business over the next 8 weeks and helping to cut those costs and variables and really eliminate the defects per million opportunities in your business to the 5 Sigma, 6 Sigma, 7 Sigma level. We'd really like to eliminate all of the defects as much as we possibly can. But 6 Sigma is really more than 99.9. It's 99.9993, I believe. And that is just really taking out most of the defects in your processes. So we want to do that. We want to eliminate the doubt. And one of the things we do to eliminate your doubt is to put processes in a place that just work. You don't have to worry about, hey, they're going crazy, because we've eliminated the opportunities for the errors with implementing these new processes. Really, it's a fantastic program. Go ahead and sign up. I posted that link in the comments. thegrowthconsultant.com/strategy session right there. You can also find Gravere Strategy on Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube. Go check Robert Lyon's page out, Robert R. Lyon, on YouTube. And of course, I've got my Facebook page as well. Guys, it's been real fun. I love Lean Six Sigma. There's a whole world behind this. That was just white belt training, guys. There's a whole world that's just fantastic with Lean Six Sigma. So please join me with this 8-week business growth intensive, and we will definitely help you out with that. Because man, I love it so much. There's just so much detail that you cannot cover everything in a green belt or a black belt or a yellow belt in an hour session. You just can't do it. So at least we kind of touched on the main topics of Six Sigma, and I'll try to post some graphics up in the group. How about that? All right, guys. It's been real fun. I'm Corey Myers with the Level Up Business Mastery Group, and I hope to see you soon. We'll be live again tomorrow at 10 a.m.